Have you ever struggled to show interest in a conversation? It's a common issue, but with a few phrases up your sleeve, you can turn any chat into an engaging exchange. Let's dive right in. First up is, I find that really fascinating. Imagine someone is telling you about their recent travels to Antarctica. You could respond by saying, I find that really fascinating. How did you manage the extreme cold? Next, we have, that's intriguing. Tell me more. For example, if a friend mentions a new hobby they've picked up, such as bird watching, you could respond with, that's intriguing. Tell me more. What birds have you spotted so far? Then there's, I'm intrigued by what you're saying. Suppose your colleague is explaining a complex concept at work. You might say, I'm intrigued by what you're saying. Can you explain how that impacts our project? Moving on, we have, please do continue. I'm eager to hear more. If your neighbor is telling you about their kitchen renovation, you could say, please do continue. I'm eager to hear more. How are you choosing the color scheme? Next, consider using, I'm curious to hear more about that. If a friend is telling you about a book they're reading, you might respond with, I'm curious to hear more about that. What's the plot? Interesting. Could you elaborate? Is another helpful phrase. If someone is talking about a new film they saw, you could say, interesting. Could you elaborate? What makes it stand out from other films? Then there's really. I'd love to hear more about that. For example, if your cousin tells you they're starting a new business, you could respond, really? I'd love to hear more about that. What's your business model? Moving on, that's interesting is a versatile phrase. If your friend mentions a new diet they're trying, you might say, that's interesting. How does it work? Next is, I see, go on. If someone is telling you about their weekend plans, you might say, I see, go on. What else do you have planned? Wow, that's cool, is another casual way to show interest. If someone tells you about a concert they attended, you could respond, wow, that's cool, what was the best part? Next, we have, no way, tell me more. If a friend tells you they met a celebrity, you might say, no way, tell me more, what were they like in person? Our next phrase is, you don't say. If someone is sharing an unexpected piece of news, you might respond, you don't say, how did that happen? Then there's, you don't mean it. For example, if a colleague tells you they've been promoted, you might say, you don't mean it. That's fantastic news. Next is that so? If someone tells you a fun fact, you might respond, is that so? I didn't know that. You're kidding, is another way to express surprise and interest. If a friend tells you they won a contest, you might say, you're kidding. What did you win? Last but not least, that's awesome, keep talking. If someone is telling you about a trip they're planning, you might respond, that's awesome, keep talking. Where else are you going? In summary, showing interest in a conversation can be as simple as using a few key phrases. Whether it's, I find that really fascinating, that's intriguing, tell me more, or no way, tell me more. These phrases can help you engage more deeply in any conversation. So the next time you're in a chat, try one out and see the difference it makes. Happy talking.